Madison had been staring at private jets through the terminal window for 20 minutes. Her economy flight to Rome had been delayed 3 times. When the security guard approached with an impossible offer, "Mr. Sartori invites you to travel with him. Direct flight departing in 30 minutes. She should have laughed, should have stayed in her gate. Instead, she Googled his name, texted her friend his details, and followed a stranger to a Gulf Stream. Because sometimes the best stories start with terrible flight delays. Comment where you're watching from. JFK Airport's Terminal 4 smelled like overpriced coffee and collective frustration. Madison Jones sat at Gate 47, her Venice on a Budget guidebook open, but unread, staring through the massive windows at the private jets taxiing on the tarmac below. 3 delays. 3 separate announcements promising her economy flight to Rome would definitely depart soon. She'd been here since 5 p.m. It was now 8:30. Her carefully planned first trip to Italy, 2 weeks of solo travel through Venice, Florence, and the Amalfi Coast, was starting with the universe's sense of humor. 14 hours in economy with a connection in London, if the flight ever actually left. Madison pressed her forehead against the cool glass, watching a sleek Gulf Stream pull up to the private aviation terminal. Must be nice. Must be incredible to just walk onto a plane and go. No delays, no crying babies, no fighting for overhead bin space. The jet's stairs descended. A man emerged from the terminal building. Even from this distance, even through glass and across 100 yards of tarmac, Madison could tell he was different. The way he moved. The way people around him adjusted their positions without seeming to realize it. The way he paused at the bottom of the stairs and looked up, directly at her window. Their eyes met across the distance. Madison's breath caught. He was tall, very tall, dressed entirely in black. Dark hair, strong features, the kind of face that belonged on Italian cinema screens. Even from here, she could feel the intensity of his gaze. 3 seconds. 4. 5. Then he turned and climbed the stairs into his jet. Madison exhaled, shook her head. That was weird, and probably nothing. Rich guy with a private jet glancing at the peasants in commercial terminals. Story of capitalism. She returned to her guidebook, trying to focus on whether she should do the Doge's palace tour or save money with a self-guided walk. "Miss Jones?" Madison looked up. A man in a dark suit stood before her, tall, professional, with an earpiece and the unmistakable bearing of private security. "Yes?" "My name is Marco. I work for Mr. Sartori, the gentleman you saw boarding the Gulf Stream." He gestured toward the window, toward the jet that was still visible on the tarmac. "He noticed you've been waiting for some time, noted your destination. Rome, economy class, multiple delays. He'd like to extend an invitation." Madison blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" "Mr. Sartori is offering you a seat on his flight. Direct to Rome, departing in 30 minutes. No delays, no connections." Marco's expression remained perfectly neutral. "You're welcome to decline," but he wanted to offer. This was insane. He saw me through a window and decided to invite me onto his private jet. He saw you waiting. Your flight has been delayed 3 times. His departs in 30 minutes and lands in Rome in 8 hours. Marco pulled out a business card, offered it to her. "This is Mr. Sartori's information. You're welcome to verify his identity before deciding. I'll wait here while you consider." Madison took the card. Heavy stock, embossed lettering. Ettore Sartori, Sartori Holdings, Venice, Italy. "This is insane," she said aloud. "Perhaps, but practical. Your flight may not leave tonight. His definitely will." Madison pulled out her phone, Googled Ettore Sartori. Results flooded in. Legitimate businesses, hotels in Italy, import companies. Photos of a man who matched the one she'd seen boarding the jet. No red flags. No Italian businessman arrested for human trafficking headlines. And he does this often? She asked, still scrolling. Collects random women from terminals? Never. I've worked for Mr. Sartori for 6 years. This is unprecedented. Marco's expression remained professional. He was quite clear. You're to have complete autonomy. If you're uncomfortable at any point, I'll bring you back here immediately. The gate agent's voice crackled over the intercom. Attention passengers on Flight 4782 to London. We're experiencing additional delays. Estimated departure is now 11:15 p.m. We apologize for the inconvenience. Madison closed her eyes. That was the 4th delay. Her connection in London was at 7 a.m. If this flight left at 11:15, she'd miss it. Might not get to Italy at all tonight. She looked at the business card, at Marco's patient expression, at the Gulf Stream still visible through the window. Pulled up her messages and texted her best friend Sarah. Insane situation. Rich Italian guy invited me onto his private jet, attaching his info. If I disappear, call the FBI. His name is Ettore Sartori. Company is Sartori Holdings, Venice. Security guy's name is Marco. We'll text you when I land. If you don't hear from me in 12 hours, assume I'm dead or being held for ransom. She attached a photo of the business card. Sarah responded immediately. What? Are you serious? Did you Google him? Is he hot? Googled. Seems legit. And yes, very. Possibly illegally hot. Oh my God. Do it. Live your best life. But also text me every hour or I'm calling Interpol. Madison looked at Marco. If I say yes, what happens? I escort you to the private terminal. You meet Mr. Sartori. You board the jet. If at any point you want to leave, you tell me. I'll bring you back immediately. No questions asked. And if he's a serial killer? Then I'm an accomplice, which seems like poor career planning on my part. Marco's expression didn't change, but something in his eyes suggested humor. Mr. Sartori is many things, Miss Jones. A serial killer isn't one of them. Madison looked at her gate, at the delayed flight, at the Gulf Stream. Fuck it. Okay, she said, standing. Let's go. If this was how she died, at least she'd die with a good story. The private aviation terminal was a different world. Quiet. Elegant. No crowds. No chaos. No screaming children. Just leather chairs, soft lighting, and the kind of hush that money bought. Marco led her through security. Minimal, efficient, clearly designed for people who valued discretion, and out onto the tarmac. The Gulf Stream waited, stairs extended, interior lights glowing warmly. It looked like something from a movie. Sleek, pristine, expensive in a way that made her leather jacket feel like a costume. After you, Marco said. Madison climbed the stairs on legs that felt unsteady. This was insane. Completely insane. She was walking onto a stranger's private jet because her flight was delayed, and he was hot. The interior was stunning. Cream leather seats, polished wood accents, soft ambient lighting, not flashy, refined, expensive but tasteful. 8 seats total, all facing each other in a configuration that suggested conversation, not isolation. And standing in the aisle, waiting for her, was the man from the tarmac. Up close, he was devastating. Tall, easily 6'2", with the kind of build that suggested natural athleticism, not gym obsession. Black hair styled perfectly but not overdone. Dark eyes that held hers with an intensity that made her breath catch. Strong features, slight stubble, the kind of face that belonged in Italian fashion magazines. He wore all black, dress shirt with sleeves rolled to his elbows, tailored pants, expensive shoes, and looked like he'd walked out of a Dolce & Gabbana campaign. You came. His voice was deep, accented, warm. I wasn't certain you would. Neither was I. Madison adjusted her bag on her shoulder. But apparently I make questionable decisions when tired. He smiled, slight, genuine, transforming his intense features into something approachable. Then I'm grateful for your exhaustion. I'm Ettore Sartori. Madison Jones. And this is insane, just so we're clear. Completely insane, he agreed. But productive insanity. Your flight won't leave until midnight, if at all. Mine leaves in 20 minutes and lands in Rome at sunrise. He gestured to the seats. Sit wherever you'd like. We have 8 seats and 2 passengers. Pick your favorite. Madison chose a window seat, still half convinced this was a fever dream. Ettore sat across from her. Respectable distance, not crowding her space. So, she said, you saw me through a window and decided to invite me onto your jet. I saw you waiting, looking frustrated, looking at the private jets like you were calculating whether grand theft aircraft was worth the prison time. His eyes held amusement. And I thought, I'm flying to Rome, she's flying to Rome. I have empty seats. Why not offer? That's either very generous or very suspicious. Can't it be both? She laughed despite herself. You're very calm about inviting random women onto private jets. You're very calm about accepting. He leaned back in his seat. What made you say yes? Due diligence. Googled you. Texted your information to my friend with instructions to call the FBI if I disappear. Noted that Marco seems too professionally competent to be working for a serial killer. She met his eyes. And honestly, the alternative was 14 hours in economy with a connection I'd probably miss. This seemed like the better gamble. Practical. I appreciate that. A flight attendant appeared. Young woman, professional, friendly. Julia, this is Madison. She'll be joining us. Welcome aboard, Miss Jones. Can I get you something to drink? Wine? Water? Prosecco? Madison should probably stay alert. Should definitely not accept alcohol from strangers on private jets. Wine, she said. Red, if you have it. We have several. I'll bring you something I think you'll enjoy. Julia disappeared into the galley. Ettore watched Madison with evident amusement. What? Madison asked. You did due diligence on me but accepted wine immediately. If you wanted to drug me, you'd do it with the water. Wine seems like unnecessary complexity. Sound logic. I like the way you think. The engine started. Madison felt the jet begin to move. This was really happening. She was really on a private jet with a stranger flying to Italy. Julia returned with wine, deep red in an actual crystal glass. Madison sipped. It was excellent. Probably cost more than her entire trip budget. Good? Ettore asked. Better than the boxed wine I packed for my hostel stays. He winced theatrically. You're staying in hostels? In Italy? Some of us work in marketing consulting, not private aviation. She sipped again. What do you do exactly? The Google results were vague. I own businesses. Hotels, import companies, restaurants, family operations based in Venice and Sicily. He paused. Some more conventional than others. That's intentionally vague. It is, but I'll answer any specific questions you ask, within reason. The jet began to accelerate. Madison felt the familiar pressure of takeoff. Through the window, JFK fell away below them, city lights giving way to darkness as they climbed. She was really doing this. Where are you staying in Venice? Ettore asked. Hostel near Mestre. That's not Venice. That's mainland. It's what I can afford. Venice proper is expensive. It is, but you're seeing it for the first time. You should see it properly. He sipped his own wine. Whiskey, she noticed, not wine. Stay with me. Madison nearly choked. I'm sorry, what? I have a palazzo in Venice, on the canal. You'll have your own space. I'm not suggesting anything inappropriate. But you'll be in actual Venice, not commuting from Mestre. You can explore properly. Leave when you want. He met her eyes. Consider it an extension of tonight's impulsivity. You're offering me a room in your house. Palazzo. And yes, we just met. An hour ago. Technically 45 minutes ago. But we've already crossed several boundaries. You're on my jet, drinking my wine, flying to Italy with me. What's one more boundary? Madison should say no. Should maintain some sense of self-preservation. Should not move into a stranger's house just because he had a private jet and excellent cheekbones. One condition, she heard herself say. I pay for something. Dinners, groceries, whatever. I'm not a charity case. His smile was genuine. Deal. Though I should warn you, my chef will be offended if you try to buy groceries. He has strong opinions about his kitchen. You have a chef. I have staff. The palazzo is large. I'm Sicilian. We don't do things halfway. The jet leveled off. Through the window, stars appeared above clouds. They were over the Atlantic now, flying to Italy. Together. This was the most insane thing Madison had ever done, and she couldn't wait to see what happened next. They talked through dinner, prepared by a chef who apparently lived on the jet's crew schedule, creating pasta that was better than anything Madison had eaten in restaurants. Ettore was easy to talk to, asked questions and actually listened to answers, wanted to know about her work, marketing campaigns she'd designed, clients she loved and hated, why she'd chosen freelance consulting over agency life. Told her about his properties, the hotels in Milan and Venice, restaurants in Rome, the import business that brought Italian wines and goods to American markets. Your family's been doing this for generations, Madison observed, since the 19th century. We're old Sicilian money. Traditional operations passed down through bloodlines. Something flickered in his expression. Some more legitimate than others. You keep saying that. More legitimate than others. What does that mean? It means my family has diverse interests, some perfectly legal, some operating in gray areas, some— He met her eyes. Some requiring discretion. Are you telling me you're Mafia? I'm telling you I come from a traditional Sicilian family with traditional Sicilian business practices. He didn't look away. I won't lie to you, Madison, but I also won't give you details that could complicate your life. Is that acceptable? She should be scared, should make Marco turn the jet around, should absolutely not continue flying to Italy with a man who just implied criminal enterprise. Instead, she said, Do you hurt innocent people? Never. That's a line I don't cross. Then yes, that's acceptable. I don't need the details. Something in his expression shifted, softened. You're remarkable. I'm pragmatic, and I'm tired of being scared of everything. Life's short. Private jets don't appear every day. I'm choosing to enjoy this. Good. He raised his glass. To impulsive decisions. To delayed flights. They clinked glasses. Outside the window, darkness and stars. Inside, warmth and unexpected connection. Around midnight, 3 hours into the flight, Madison felt exhaustion creeping in. The wine, the day, the surreal circumstances. Her eyes kept drifting closed. There's a bedroom in the back, Ettore said gently. You should sleep. I'll wake you before we land. I'm fine. You're exhausted, and we have 5 hours left. Sleep, Madison. I'm not offended. The bedroom was small but perfect. Actual bed with soft sheets, blackout shades, the gentle hum of engines. Madison lay down fully clothed just for a moment, and woke to gentle knocking. Madison, we're landing in 20 minutes. She emerged disoriented. Dawn light filled the cabin. Ettore sat reading, still impeccable in his black clothes, looking like he hadn't slept at all. Morning, he said, smiling. Coffee? Please, intravenously if possible. Julia brought espresso, strong, perfect, exactly what she needed. Madison looked out the window as they descended. Italy, actual Italy. Golden morning light over ancient landscape. Welcome to Roma, Ettore said softly. They landed at a private terminal, quick, efficient, no crowds. A black Mercedes waited on the tarmac. Driver in suit, professional, clearly part of Ettere's world. "Luca will drive us to Venice," Ettere explained as they settled into the car. "About 4 hours. You can sleep more if you'd like." But Madison didn't want to sleep. She wanted to watch Italy unfold through the windows. Countryside, small towns, eventually the causeway leading to Venice itself. And then, water, canals, buildings rising directly from lagoon, bridges and boats, and the most beautiful city she'd ever seen. "Oh," she breathed. Ettere watched her face, not the view. "Worth the jet ride?" "So worth it." The car stopped at a private dock. A water taxi waited, sleek, wooden, expensive. They transferred luggage and climbed aboard. Venice opened around them. Canals reflecting morning light, buildings in shades of pink and ochre and cream, the smell of salt water and coffee, church bells ringing somewhere, tourists just beginning to emerge from hotels. The boat turned into a smaller canal, quieter, more residential. Stopped at a palazzo that made Madison's breath catch. 3 stories, cream-colored stone, green shutters, flowers spilling from window boxes, private dock, water lapping at foundations that had stood for centuries. "This is home," Ettore said simply. Inside was somehow more stunning. Original frescoes on ceilings, terrazzo floors polished to gleaming, furniture that mixed antique with modern perfectly. Windows everywhere, flooding rooms with light and canal views. A woman appeared. Older, kind-faced, clearly staff. "Signora Rosa, this is Madison. She'll be staying with us." Rosa smiled warmly, said something in rapid Italian. Ettore responded, then translated. "She says welcome. You must be exhausted. She'll show you to your room." The guest suite was on the 2nd floor. Bedroom with canal views, attached bathroom with marble and ancient fixtures that somehow still worked perfectly. Soft towels, expensive toiletries, a robe that felt like silk. "Rest," Ettore said from the doorway. "Sleep as long as you need. When you wake, I'll show you Venice. The real Venice, not the tourist version." "Ettore?" "Yes?" "Thank you. For the jet. For this. For not being a serial killer." He laughed, genuine, warm. "You're welcome. For all of those things." He left her alone. Madison collapsed on the bed, fully clothed, and didn't wake until late afternoon. She woke to golden light and the sound of water. For a disoriented moment, Madison didn't know where she was. Then memory returned. Private jet, Italian man, Venice palazzo. She'd actually done this. Her phone showed 4 p.m. and 17 messages from Sarah, ranging from "OMG, did you land?" to "If you don't respond in 1 hour, I'm calling the State Department." Madison called her. "You're alive!" Sarah shrieked. "Tell me everything immediately." "I'm in Venice, in his palazzo," which is somehow more insane than it sounds. "Describe him. Spare no details." 6'2", Italian, black hair, looks like he stepped out of a fashion magazine, owns hotels and probably half of Sicily. May or may not be involved in organized crime. Silence. Then, "I'm sorry, what?" He was vague about his family businesses, but also very honest about being vague. "It's complicated." "Madison Elizabeth Jones. Did you fly to Italy with a Mafia member?" "Allegedly traditional Sicilian businessman. The Mafia thing is implied, not confirmed." "Oh my God. Are you safe?" "Surprisingly, yes. He's been nothing but respectful. Gave me my own room. Has staff. Everything's been, actually, kind of perfect." "This is insane." "I know, but I'm going with it. Life's short." "How often do private jets appear?" They talked for 30 minutes. Sarah made Madison promise to check in daily and send photos proving she was alive and unharmed. Madison agreed and hung up. She showered. The water pressure was perfect. The bathroom products smelled like bergamot and sage, and changed into clean clothes. Jeans, soft sweater, her leather jacket. Towel dried her hair and added minimal makeup. Downstairs, she found Ettore on the terrace overlooking the canal. He'd changed too. Black jeans, black Henley, still devastating. Reading something on his phone. "You're awake," he said, smiling. "How do you feel?" "Like I'm in a dream. This place is incredible." "It's home. Been in my family since the 18th century. I restored it 5 years ago." He stood. "Are you hungry? Rosa made dinner. Or we can go out. I know excellent restaurants. Here is perfect. I'm not ready for crowds yet." They ate on the terrace. Pasta with seafood, bread, wine, simple food executed perfectly. Talked about Venice, about her plans, about nothing and everything. "What do you want to see?" Ettore asked. "Tourists do San Marco, Rialto, the main attractions, but there's more to Venice. Secret things. Want the tourist version or the real version?" "Real, always real." His smile was pleased. "Good answer. Tomorrow I'll show you my city." That night, lying in the guest room bed with canal sounds drifting through open windows, Madison tried to process. 24 hours ago she'd been delayed at JFK. Now she was in Venice, in a palazzo, hosted by a man who might be Mafia, and was definitely the most interesting person she'd ever met. This was insane, and she couldn't wait for tomorrow. Ettore showed her Venice the way locals knew it. Not San Marco at noon with tourist crowds, Canarigio at dawn with fishermen. Not overpriced restaurants near Rialto, tiny Baccari and residential campos where everyone knew his name. They walked for hours, through narrow calle where buildings nearly touched overhead, across bridges where locals gossiped, into campos where children played football and grandmothers watched from windows. He took her to Libreria Acqua Alta, the bookstore with gondolas inside, books stacked to ceilings, cats sleeping on philosophy sections. To Mercato di Rialto at 7 a.m., when vendors were setting up, fish glistening on ice, vegetables in vibrant piles, the organized chaos of Venetian commerce. To tiny churches tourists never found, where art worth millions hung in darkness, barely lit, visited by no one. "This is the real Venice," Ettore said in one small campo, pigeons scattering around their feet. "Not the postcard version, the one that lives and breathes and exists between the tourists." Madison watched him as he moved through his city. The way people greeted him, respectful, sometimes nervous, always deferential. The way shop owners appeared with coffee or pastries when he entered. The way conversations stopped when he approached, resumed when he passed. He had power here. Real power. Not just money. "They're afraid of you," she said quietly, after they'd left a cafe where the owner had been overly solicitous. Ettore didn't deny it. "Some are. Some respect me. Some both. My family has influence in Venice. Has for generations. The legitimate businesses? Those too." They were walking along a quiet canal, tourists absent, just water and stone and fading light. "What do you actually do, Ettore?" Madison stopped walking. "Beyond hotels and imports." He met her eyes, seemed to weigh something. Then, "My family manages territory, protection, business interests that don't follow all conventional regulations. We have rules, no drugs, no trafficking, nothing that harms innocents. But yes, we operate outside pure legality. Does that frighten you?" "It should. It absolutely should." "No," Madison said honestly. "I've seen how you are, how you treat people, how you've treated me. Whatever your business involves, you're not cruel. You're not a monster. I've had to make difficult decisions, done things I'm not proud of. Haven't we all? In different ways. She stepped closer. I'm not naive. I know what you're implying. And I'm still here. Still choosing this. Still choosing to trust you. Something shifted in his expression. Why? Because in 2 days you've been more honest with me than most people are in months. Because you gave me choice at every step. Because when I'm with you, I feel safe. Actually safe. Not just physically, emotionally. Like I can be honest, and you won't judge. Madison, I'm not asking you to be different. Not asking you to explain everything. I just needed to know, are you someone I can trust? Yes. No hesitation. With your life, with anything. I promise you that. Then that's enough. He pulled her close then, gently, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His hand cupped her face, thumb tracing her cheekbone. His eyes searched hers. You're remarkable, he said softly. Do you know that? You keep saying that. Because it keeps being true. He kissed her. Soft at first, testing. Then deeper when she responded, her hands clutching his shirt, his fingers tangling in her hair. The canal, the city, everything disappeared. Just them. Just this moment. Just the feeling of finally touching something that had been building since that first look through the terminal window. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Ettore rested his forehead against hers. Come home with me, he whispered. Not the guest room. My room, if you want. No pressure. But, yes, they barely made it back to the palazzo, hands intertwined, stolen kisses in shadowed doorways. Up the stairs, down the hall, to his room, larger than hers, darker, masculine, with massive windows overlooking the canal. He pulled her close, and Venice disappeared outside the windows. Madison woke wrapped in expensive sheets with Italian morning light streaming across unfamiliar ceilings. Ettore's arm around her waist, his breath warm against her shoulder. Last night. Oh God, last night. She turned in his arms, found him awake, watching her. Hi, she whispered. Hi. He kissed her forehead. Regrets? None. You? Not one. His hand traced patterns on her back. Though I should probably let you return to your room before Rosa finds us like this and tells my mother. Your mother? Sicilian, traditional. Would have opinions about her son keeping guests in his bed before proper courtship. Madison laughed. How traditional is your family? Depends on which aspects we're discussing. He sat up, gloriously unself-conscious. Come on, I'll make you breakfast. Then we can continue exploring Venice. Unless you'd prefer to stay in bed all day? Tempting. But I came to see Venice. Good, because I have more to show you. Secret things. They spent the day at Giardini della Biennale, gardens where tourists rarely ventured, filled with art installations and quiet paths. Had coffee at a tiny bar in Dorsoduro where the owner greeted Ettore like family. Took a gondola ride at sunset through small canals, alone, with Ettore's arm around her and the city glowing golden around them. That night they had dinner at his restaurant near Rialto. 2 Michelin stars, impossible reservations, but he owned it, so they walked in past the line and got the best table. You own this too? Madison asked, studying the menu. 3 restaurants in Italy, 2 in Venice, 1 in Rome. This one's my favorite. He waved away her menu. Trust me to order? Should I? Absolutely. Every course was perfect. They talked through dinner about everything and nothing. About her childhood in Seattle, his in Sicily, her college years, his taking over family businesses young when his father died. The easy conversation of people who fit together naturally. Why aren't you married? Madison asked over dessert. 36. Successful Sicilian family that wants grandchildren. Seems like you'd be under pressure. I was, am. But I never found someone who understood my world, who could accept all the parts of it. Most people want the palazzo and the restaurants, don't want the complications. He met her eyes. Until maybe now. We've known each other 4 days. 4 days of honesty, which is more than most people get in months. He paid. Of course he paid. He owned the restaurant. And they walked home through dark Cali, Madison's hand in his. In his bedroom, with moonlight reflecting off the canal and through windows, they made love differently. Slower. Less urgency. More intimacy. Like they had time now. Like this wasn't temporary. After, tangled together in the dark, Ettore said, "Stay longer. I know you planned 2 weeks in Italy. Stay here, with me. See Venice properly. Then we can go to Florence together, the Amalfi Coast, wherever you want. But stay." "I can't just—" "You can. You're freelance. You work remotely. Stay with me, Madison. Please." She should think about it. Should be practical. Should not extend a trip based on 4 days with someone she barely knew. "Okay," she said instead. "I'll stay." His arms tightened around her. "Thank you." They fell asleep wrapped around each other, Venice quiet outside the windows. A week passed, then 2. Madison worked mornings from Ettore's palazzo. Client calls, campaign revisions, strategy decks. Afternoons and evenings, Ettore showed her Venice. The real Venice. The hidden Venice. The Venice that belonged to him. She met his staff. Rosa, who managed the household and clearly adored him. Giovanni the chef, who insisted on teaching Madison to make proper pasta. Luca the driver, who told embarrassing stories about young Ettore when they were alone. She fit into his life, effortlessly, easily, like she'd always been there. And she fell deeper every day. The way he made coffee exactly how she liked without asking. The way he listened when she talked about work frustrations. The way he touched her, casually, constantly, like he couldn't help himself. Hand on her back, fingers intertwined, kisses on her temple when he passed. She was falling in love with him, completely, terrifyingly, inevitably. One night, 3 weeks after arriving, they had dinner at the palazzo. Just them, Rosa having left for the evening, the city quiet outside. "I need to tell you something," Ettore said over wine. Madison's stomach tightened. Here it was. The ending. This was fun but temporary. "Okay. You know what my family does, what I do, but I haven't been entirely clear about specifics." He set down his glass. "We manage territory for several families, collect protection payments, run import operations that don't exactly follow customs regulations. I broker deals between legitimate businesses and less legitimate interests. I've never hurt an innocent person. That's my line. But I've made threats, applied pressure, done things that would horrify most people. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you in my life, fully, and that requires complete honesty." His eyes held hers. "I'm not just a businessman, Madison. I'm part of something bigger, something complicated, something that comes with risks. And if you're going to stay, if we're going to continue this, you need to understand that fully." Madison processed, thought about the last 3 weeks, about how people treated him, about the conversations in Italian she'd overheard, about the way his phone rang at odd hours and he'd excuse himself to take calls. She'd known. On some level, she'd known all along. "Are you involved in violence?" she asked. "I've had to make difficult decisions, but I don't target innocents. Ever. Drugs, trafficking? Never. Those are my hard lines. And me? What am I to you?" He moved around the table, knelt beside her chair, took her hands. "You're someone I haven't been able to stop thinking about since I saw you through that terminal window. Someone I want in my life. Fully. Permanently. If you'll have me. Knowing everything. Her heart hammered. Ettore, I'm not asking you to be involved. Not asking you to participate in anything. Just asking you to accept who I am. What I do. And choose whether you can live with that. She looked at their joined hands. At his face. Open. Vulnerable. Waiting. She should be scared. Should pack her bags. Should fly home and forget this entire beautiful, complicated mess. Instead, she cupped his face and kissed him. Deep. Certain. Choosing. I choose you, she said against his lips. All of you. I'm not asking you to change. Not asking you to be different. I see who you are, what your world involves, and I'm staying. Completely. Consciously. Because when I'm with you, I'm happier than I've ever been. You're sure? I'm terrified, but I'm sure. He kissed her then, grateful, relieved, intense. Lifted her, and she wrapped around him as he carried her upstairs. That night they made love differently, more vulnerable, more honest, both of them showing everything, hiding nothing. 1 month in, Madison woke to voices below. Italian, rapid, tense. She checked the time, 3 a.m. Ettere's side of the bed was empty. She pulled on his shirt, soft, smelling like him, and crept to the hallway. Voices came from his office downstairs. The door was slightly ajar. Non posso accettare questi termini. La famiglia Russo non rispetta il territorio. Another voice, angry. Mancanza di rispetto. Dobbiamo rispondere. Ettore's voice, cold in a way she'd never heard. No, nessuna violenza. Ci sono altri modi. Marco, aumenta la sicurezza sui ristoranti. Luca, parla con i nostri contatti. Voglio sapere cosa vogliono veramente i Russo. She didn't understand all the Italian, but understood enough. Russo family, disrespect, territory, violence, which Ettore was refusing. The meeting ended. Footsteps. Madison retreated quickly to the bedroom. Ettore appeared 15 minutes later, saw her awake. You heard. Some. I don't speak Italian well, but enough. She sat up. What's happening? He sat on the bed, ran hands through his hair. Another family trying to move into territory I manage, making noise, being aggressive. My people want to respond with force. I'm refusing, trying to negotiate first. Will it work? Maybe. Maybe not. This is my world, Madison. Late-night calls, territory disputes, constant management, decisions that affect people's lives and businesses. He met her eyes. Still want to stay? She moved to him, straddled his lap, cupped his face. Yes. I'm not asking you to be different, Ettore. Not asking you to change who you are or what you do. I see your world. I see you managing it, making choices, having rules. And I'm staying, choosing you. All of it. Most people would run. I'm not most people, and you're not most men. She kissed him. Whatever your world involves, we handle it together, okay? His arms wrapped around her. Okay. They made love slowly, reassuring, both of them holding tight. The situation with the Russo family escalated over the next week. Madison didn't get details. Ettore kept her separate from the specifics, but she saw the signs. More security around the palazzo, more late-night calls, tense conversations in Italian that ended when she entered rooms. One night, she woke alone again. Found Ettore on the terrace, phone in hand, staring at the canal. Talk to me, she said softly. It's complicated. I know. Talk to me anyway. He sighed, set down the phone. The Russo family wants 3 of my restaurants, claims I'm operating in their historical territory. They're wrong. This has been Sartori territory since before they existed. But they're being aggressive. My people want to respond with force. I'm trying to avoid that. Why? Because violence always escalates. Always. Someone gets hurt. Someone retaliates. It never ends well. I prefer negotiation. But the Russos aren't interested in talking. They want power, want to prove they can take from us. What happens if they don't back down? Then I'll have to respond, decisively, in ways that... He trailed off. In ways you don't need details about. Madison moved behind him, wrapped her arms around his waist, rested her head against his back. Whatever you have to do, I trust you. I know you'll do the right thing. And I'm here. Always. He turned in her arms, pulled her close. How are you real? He whispered. How are you not running from all of this? Because I love you. She hadn't meant to say it. The words just came. Ettore went still. What? I love you. I probably have since that first night on the jet. But definitely now. Completely. She met his eyes. I love you, Ettore. Your world, your complications, your 3 a.m. phone calls. All of it. I'm not running. He kissed her, deep, grateful, almost desperate. Ti amo. I love you, so much. From the moment I saw you through that window. You're everything I didn't know I needed. They made love on the terrace under Venetian stars, both of them saying I love you, between kisses, between breaths, between everything. The Russo situation resolved 2 weeks later. Ettore didn't give her details, just came home one night, pulled her close and said, It's handled. We came to an understanding. No violence. They're backing off. How? Negotiation, leverage, reminders of why our family has held this territory for generations. He kissed her forehead. It's done. We're safe. That night they celebrated. Dinner at his restaurant, then home to the palazzo, then to bed where they showed each other exactly how grateful they were for resolution. In the aftermath, Madison realized something. She'd chosen this. Not the palazzo or the money or the lifestyle. She'd chosen Ettore, his world, his complications, his 3 a.m. phone calls and territory disputes and the constant balancing act between legitimate business and family obligations. She'd chosen all of it, consciously, completely, and she'd never been happier. 2 months in, Ettore said, Come meet my mother. Madison froze. Your mother? She's been asking, demanding actually. Sicilian mothers don't accept vague answers when their sons are suddenly unavailable every weekend. What did you tell her about me? That I met someone, that you're important, that I'd like her to meet you. He smiled. She's already planning the wedding. Fair warning. They flew to Sicily, on his jet, obviously, landed in Palermo, drove to his family's estate in the countryside. The house was beautiful, old stone, surrounded by olive groves, clearly family home for generations. And waiting on the terrace was a small woman with Ettore's eyes who immediately pulled Madison into a hug. Finalmente, she exclaimed. He brings her. Madonna, you're beautiful. Come, come, I make lunch. Lunch was 4 hours, 7 courses, and endless questions. Signora Sartori, call me Mama, everyone does, interrogated Madison about everything. Her family, her work, her intentions toward her son. You know what we are? Mama asked in heavily accented English. What the family does. Yes, Signora. And you stay anyway? Yes. Why? Madison met her eyes. Because I love your son. Not despite what he is, but including it. He's good, kind, has rules and honor. Those matter more than perfect legality. Mama studied her face, then smiled. Good answer. You're smart. He needs smart woman. His father, rest his soul, was smart, but stubborn. Ettore is same. Needs woman who understands his world. Accepts it. She patted Madison's hand. You'll do. I approve. Later, walking through olive groves with Ettore, Madison said, Your mother just gave me permission to marry you. She did that before she met you. The meeting was formality. He pulled her close. But I'm glad she approves. Makes the next part easier. What next part? He dropped to one knee right there in the olive grove, sunset golden around them. Madison Jones, 2 months ago you were delayed at an airport. I saw you through a window and made the most impulsive decision of my life. Best decision I've ever made. He pulled out a ring box. Emerald surrounded by diamonds, clearly antique, clearly family heirloom. You've seen every part of my world. The palazzo, the business, the complications. You've met my mother. You've stayed through territory disputes and 3 a.m. phone calls and all the chaos that comes with being in my life. And somehow you still love me. So I'm asking, marry me. Be my wife. Let me spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret getting on that jet. Will you? She was crying. Happy tears that she didn't bother wiping. Yes. God, yes, of course yes. He slid the ring onto her finger, perfect fit, like it was made for her, and stood to kiss her while his mother cheered from the terrace, and Cicely glowed around them. 6 months after that first night at JFK, Madison Jones married Ettore Sartori in Venice. Small ceremony at a church in Cannaregio, with family and close friends. Madison wore a simple dress that cost more than her first car. Ettore's gift, custom-made by a designer whose name she couldn't pronounce. Ettore wore all black, naturally, and looked at her like she was the only person in the world. When the priest said, "You may kiss your bride," Ettore cupped her face and kissed her like they were the only two people in existence. The church erupted in applause. Mama Sartori wept happily. Sarah, who'd flown in as maid of honor, shouted, "Finally!" The reception was at his restaurant, the 2 Michelin star one, with food and wine and dancing until late. Happy? Ettore asked during their first dance. Ridiculously. You? Every day since you said yes to my jet. He spun her. Thank you, for not being scared, for seeing all of me and staying anyway, for getting in that car with Marco when any sane person would have run. Thank you for looking back, for seeing me, for sending Marco in the first place. Best order I ever gave. Bring her to my jet. Changed my entire life. Later, Sarah cornered Madison. So, how's married life to the hot alleged Mafia guy? Complicated, wonderful, terrifying, perfect. Madison looked across the room at Ettore talking with his brothers. Best decision I ever made. Even knowing what his family does? Especially knowing. He's never hidden it, never lied, and he has honor, rules, lines he doesn't cross. That matters more than perfect legality. You've changed. 2 years ago, you'd never have said that. 2 years ago, I was waiting for delayed flights and staying in hostels. Now I'm married to someone who challenged every assumption I had about life and choices and what matters. Madison sipped her wine. Turns out impulsive decisions aren't always wrong. Sometimes they're exactly right. That night, in their room at the Palazzo, their room now, officially, forever, Ettore and Madison made love as husband and wife, while Venice glowed outside their windows. I love you, he whispered against her skin. I love you too. Forever. Forever, he agreed, starting from that moment in the terminal, when I looked up and saw you, and knew. Knew what? That you'd change everything, that I had to meet you, that nothing would ever be the same. Was that scary? Terrifying. Also inevitable. He kissed her. Best fear I ever faced. They fell asleep wrapped around each other, Venice quiet around them, their life together just beginning. Years later, when people asked how they met, Madison would smile and say, "My flight was delayed. He saw me through a window and invited me onto his private jet." And Ettore would add, "She thought I was insane. She was right, but she said yes anyway." Best yes I ever gave, Madison would say. Best order I ever gave, Ettore would counter. Bring her to my jet. Because sometimes the best love stories start with terrible flight delays, with strangers who see each other across tarmacs, with saying yes to something completely insane because anything is better than 14 hours in economy. Madison had chosen the jet, chosen Venice, chosen Ettore, chosen a life she never imagined and couldn't imagine leaving. She'd stopped waiting that night at JFK and found everything she didn't know she was looking for. She found home. Subscribe for more romance stories. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Comment below where you're watching from. And tell us, would you have gotten on the jet? See you in the next story.